Hello, my friends. It's me, Lindsey from SOHAM Yoga with Lindsey, back with another chair yoga program just for you. This time it is yoga for back care. I'll help you to stretch out the back with some gentle back bends, but also to work on strengthening through the back muscles, through the core muscles as well, just to help keep you feeling strong, feeling supported in your day-to-day activities. So please let me know how you enjoyed this class in the comments below, and I will see you inside. Thank you so much. So getting yourself nice and comfortable, feeling the support of the chair beneath you. And if you're ready to close your eyes, you're welcome to do that already, or you might just find a little softening of the muscles around the eyes, around the face. So for me, coming in now, just sort of from being out on the roads and in the weather that was sort of swirling moments ago, I feel the need to take a big sighing breath out. So you might feel that as well, especially coming off of lunch or coming from another activity. Or you might want a softer breath today. So you might prefer to just use a straw breath to lengthen your exhale. So that would look like inhaling through the nose, and then a nice straw breath with pursed lips all the way out. Or you might prefer to take that deep sighing breath in through the nose, and then letting out that big breath out the mouth. Good. Let's do that again. Take any breath that you need right now, inhaling through the nose, and then all the way out. One more time, just to settle in a little bit more. Inhaling and sighing or blowing the straw. Good. And then here in our seat, after just taking a few of those breaths, we might start to notice our feet beneath us. So even though we're wearing shoes, can we start to spread and stretch the toes? And if you are in slippers or bare feet today, you'll be able to sense that a little bit easier. But regardless, let's find a little bit of movement along the soles of the feet, rocking them forward and backwards. Maybe rocking even a little bit left to right. And this is a really lovely exercise that you can do with little tennis balls if you happen to have them at home. Really a nice sensation to sort of wake up the feet and wake up all of the fascia or those connective tissues in the body. Good. So let's let the feet come back to the floor. Good. And then can we find a little gentle pressure through the feet? So we're pressing down through the feet like we're about to stand. But rather than standing, let's notice that when we root down through the feet, the whole low body engages lightly, and the upper body, the spine and the crown of the head gently lifts up and away from the midline. Good. Take a breath here and just notice that balance of energy, of forces rooting and rising. See if you can bring a sense of balance to the body from top to bottom. Good. And then we're going to bring a little bit more balance, a little more wholeness to the body through a nice big diaphragmatic breath. So we'll do that by one of two options, either bringing our hands to the low ribs of our body. And if for whatever reason that doesn't feel comfortable, you can bring the hands or the palms to rest, palms up on the legs, on the lap. And I'll demonstrate first with the hands that we're taking a nice big deep breath in and expanding wide through the lungs, through the ribs, opening the hands up nice and big. And then as we exhale, we feel that gentle gathering of the lungs, of the ribs, and then the hands and fingers can softly curl. So let's do that again. Big breath, feeling the ribs widening, expanding. And then exhaling, gathering, contracting back in. If your hands are resting on your ribs, same idea. As we inhale, we'll feel that expansion beneath our hands of our ribs filling up, widening gently from left to right, and then exhaling back to center. Let's add a little bit more depth to that breath as we inhale, feeling that front to back widening and perhaps the diaphragm even dropping down, making this a whole breath, a diaphragmatic breath. Good. Can we do that a few more times just on our own? Noticing that fullness of breath. If your arms get tired and you want to switch positions at any time, go right ahead. Inhale, expansiveness, and exhale, contracting, gathering energy. Last one. Good. Exhaling. Beautiful. Just letting that exhale sink and drop the energy down into the body a little bit more. And then we'll bring our fingertips together in front of our heart. So the fingertips touching, creating or leaving some nice space here between the palms. So our palms are not together, they're apart. And then we rest the fingertips like a little tented motion of the hands. Good. Starting from lower down. This is our Hakini Mudra Cobra head pose. Inhaling, we're going to reach the arms up. Good. Exhaling, you lower the fingertips back down. Good. Let's do that again. This time we might follow along with our eyes, with our gaze as we inhale, lifting the arms up as high as feels comfortable in the shoulders. And exhale, lowering down. Last one, feeling that stretch at the front of the body, feeling the relaxing stretch through the belly. Inhale and exhale down. Good. Let's release the hands back to the knees. Give the shoulders a little roll. And then we'll start to wake the body up a little bit more, bringing a little bit of energy to the body now, to the nerves, the nerve sensors beneath the skin. So we can use either the sides of the hand, like a bit of a chopping motion, or we can use a gentle, soft fist, and we can just sort of gently tap along the tops of the legs, the outsides of the thighs, around, down the sides of the legs, up towards the glutes, just avoiding perhaps the bony parts of the body. You might lean forward a little bit, gently knocking around the sides of the legs, inner legs, outer legs. Good. Just waking things up in the low body. And then we'll move into the arms a little bit here. So we can bring one arm up and start to gently tap or just softly bring some energy here, tapping or rubbing if we prefer along the arm, moving up towards the shoulder, underneath the arm. Good, moving with the lymphatic system down towards the heart, and then we'll switch to the other arm. So same thing, we can lift that arm up and start gently tapping or brushing along the arm, up towards the shoulder, getting into the underside of the arm. Good. And then we can lower that arm down and we can bring that little tapping motion to the chest. Just avoiding the bones once again, but tapping across the chest cavity on the tops of the lungs. And we can bring that tapping right into the heart as well too. So of course, the energetic center of our heart chakra, but also right to bring a little bit of prana or life force, chi, to that muscle of the heart too. Good. And then we can, when we feel finished, we can release the hands to our knees, find that nice little roll of the shoulders, and just pause in our Tadasana pose. The shoulders are resting, the spine is long, and the sit bones and the legs and feet are grounded. And take a big breath here. Releasing. Beautiful work. Lovely. All right. So we're going to bring in a little owl wings pose. And remember that this pose is done with just a little bit of opening and closing of the arms while we hold our hands in a shape. So we're going to take index fingers and thumbs together, making a little OK shape with our hands. So the other 3 fingers can stay soft rather than stiff. Just bringing in a little bit of that dome-like quality to the hands. And then we'll bring the arms out in front of us with our palms turned down towards the floor. We can have some softness in the elbows. And as we inhale, we open our wings out nice and wide. Just being mindful that we're only going as far as our peripheral vision will allow. So we want to still see the arms beside us. Exhale, bring the hands back together. Let's do that again. Inhale, opening wide. Exhale, back together. We could think about drawing the thighs together slightly for this pose. Inhaling wide. Exhaling together. And then this time, can you choose a hand and rest your eyes on that hand? And as we open our wings, we follow with our eyes that hand as it opens to the side and follow it as it returns back to center. Then switch to the other hand, inhaling, watching the second hand open, and exhale, watching it come back to center. 2 more, 1 for each side. Inhaling, watching the first hand, exhaling back to center. Last one, inhale. Keep squeezing the thighs towards each other. Exhale. And then we can release the hands. And just find a little roll or a little shake of the arms to release. Beautiful. And then we'll come to the second side. This time, changing our mudra, our hand gestures. So if you have any tinnitus, hearing issues, or ringing of the ears, you might bring your middle finger to your thumb. And I'm just going to come close to the camera to show you what I mean. So the middle finger might come to the thumb. If you have shoulders or a frozen shoulder or shoulder issues that you'd like to work on, we can come into 2 peace signs and bring the ring finger and pinkies together. Oh my. Did you see that? We got little confetti there. That was fun. I love all the little surprises that Zoom brings me. Beautiful, everyone. So choose the hand position. I'm going to choose peace signs for today. Another one, confetti. And then bring the hands out in front of you again. This time turning the palms up. Okay, beautiful. Take a nice breath in. Let it go. Good. And then let's open our wings out to the side with our palms turned up this time and bring the hands back together. Good. So this time you might notice a little bit more sensation in the back body. I think I didn't mention, but the other position of the hands would bring a little more of a stretch to the front of our body. This one is working more the back body. Let's choose a hand from here, following with our gaze as our hand opens out to the side and back to center. Inhale, switching to the other side, the other hand. And exhale back to center. Good. Keep going. Inhaling, switching your hand with your gaze. Beautiful. Inhaling, open. Connecting into the back body. We'll do that one more time. This time, press the tongue into the roof of your mouth as you open your arms wide. And bring it back. Keep pressing your tongue into the roof of your mouth. Inhale. Exhale. Good work. Release the hands. An awful lot of instruction for that last move that seemed quite simple, but helping to just open up some of those connective tissues and lines of the body. Beautiful job. Hands on our knees, rolling the shoulders. And then if we readjust in our chair, just to bring our spine up nice and tall once again, coming off of the back of the chair, this will help us with just a little bit of a nicer stretch here through the neck. We're going to tip the right ear over to our right shoulder very carefully, and then take the left arm and reach the fingertips down towards the floor beside you. Good. Your fingers can wiggle, just keeping everything nice and soft. And then you could start to turn your head down towards the floor. Now with that outstretched hand, perhaps sensing here how it feels to turn a doorknob with that hand. So just turning and rotating, seeing how that feels. If that doesn't feel nice, you can leave it out. And if you enjoy that, then just changing up that movement of the shoulder this way. Let's take a big breath here. Exhale it out and bring everything back to center. Find a nice big roll through the shoulders. And then we'll switch to the second side. So tipping left ear here over to the left shoulder, reaching down with the right fingertips. And then we can turn our head down towards the floor, and we might start to turn that knob with the right hand, with the extended hand. Good. Taking some nice, soft, soothing breaths. And then let's bring everything back to center. Bring the hand back. Roll through the shoulders. This time we're going to move through cat and cow, but in a little bit more of a flowing body wave sort of manner. So hands come to our knees as we press the heart forward between the knees, and then we sort of dip up or scoop up with the head and the heart before pushing back and rounding through the spine. So that's our sort of circular wave-like motion coming between the knees, lifting head and heart, inhaling up, and then exhaling, pushing back, rounding through the spine. Keep going with your breath. A few more times, inhaling up, exhaling to round. And last one or two. Beautiful. When that feels pretty good, you can find your way back to center. Good, wonderful. So feet are flat on the floor. If we're able to move forward or scooch forward in our chair a little bit, that just will give us a little bit more room here through the low body. We're going to come into our bird dog. And we're going to take the right leg first and then just dip our toe in the water in front of us. So we just reach that toe out in front of us, dipping it in the water, noticing that my back is not against the chair, and that's going to help me just utilize the core body a little bit more so that this feels like an easier motion. Okay, we're going to engage a little bit with a breath like a shh breath to help draw in the low ribs, and then bring that foot back. Good. Let's inhale, dip the toe out, and find that shh breath before bringing that foot back. Let's do that one more time on each side. Shh, and then inhale back. And then inhale back. This time, let's add on a little bit of alternating arms, okay? So dipping or tiptoeing the right toe forward, and we'll reach the left arm forward as well. Find that shh sound. Bring it back by breathing in. And then opposite toe out, right arm forward. Shh. Inhale back. So find your rhythm here. We're alternating hand and arm, arm and leg. But we can also find that little breath rhythm as well. Shh. To help engage through the core. Shh. Good. One more time each side. Shh. And last one. Beautiful work, everyone. Bring yourself back to center. Give the shoulders a nice little roll. And I'm going to turn my chair back forward. I'll just find my position that I was in. There we are. Beautiful. So finding ourselves up into a cactus arm now. Feet are flat on the floor. Arms, elbows are bent. Arms are reaching up like a cactus arms. And from here, can we ground through the feet, ground through our sit bones, and then gently engaging through the belly, turn ourselves to one side, keeping the arms in that cactus position. And then come on back to center, and we'll turn over to the other side. Good. So it's not a big movement, but it's getting right into the thoracic spine, the middle of our spine. Good. Inhale and exhale. Inhaling back through center and exhaling to one side. And then we'll do that one more time on the other side. Inhaling and exhaling, just noticing how that feels to twist like that right from the mid-spine. Beautiful. Hands to our knees, big roll of the shoulders, and find your way back to your mountain pose. All right, friends, hands on our knees. Let's take a nice big circle around the hips. So this pose is called Sufi grind. Sounds a bit aggressive, but this is a lovely pose for our spine as we travel in all directions around our hips. It's wonderful for getting a little bit more into our hip creases as well. Let's pause our movement here and take it back the opposite way. It's also a nice massage for the pelvic floor a little bit. Adds a little bit of traction to the pelvic floor. So that's helping us with a little bit more of those stabilizing joints as well. Good. Let's come on back to center. Good. Find your roll. Find your shoulder roll here. Settling back in. Beautiful. Fantastic. All right. One more thing I'm going to show you before we move into sun salutations today. So when we are doing a forward fold, which we do in our sun salutations, just want us to be mindful that we can find our hip creases here. So that area where our thigh bone or our leg connects right into our hips or our pelvis, that would be our hip crease. You can bring your hands there and just feel or sense how it feels to lean forward, letting your heart lead the way as we tip forward, keeping the spine nice and long. The hinge or the bend comes right from the hips rather than from a rounding of the spine. And then the same thing when we come back up, we can use our hands to push a little bit, but we come up with a nice long spine. Super important if we have any kind of back sensitivity or back pain, just to help keep us safe through the back body. Good. Bringing the feet and the hands back to center. We're going to lean forward, picking up those beach balls. So again, hinging from the hips, and then inhale, we lift our arms up overhead with a big breath in. As we breathe out, can we drop the elbows really close to our body? I see your wave, Mike. Drop those elbows nice and close to the body, nice and tight. Really spread through the fingers, and then push out through the heart, lifting the chin. Find a little back bend here. Good. A big breath in. This is our little cobra pose. And then exhale, bring yourself back up through center. Open the arms out wide. Inhale. Exhale. Wrap yourself up in a nice hug. And then just pause for a moment. You could tap your shoulder. Give yourself a little pat on the back. You could rock or sway. Or maybe you prefer to find stillness. And that's fine too. Nicely done. Let's do that again. Inhale the arms out wide. Exhale, crossing the opposite arm on top, coming back in for that hug. Give your shoulder a little pat, a little sway side to side. And then let's take another breath in as we open the arms out wide. Good. This time, exhale everything together at center, interlacing the fingers, popping out those index fingers. Now, before we lift our arms up, can we find that shh breath, or maybe even a breath, to sort of engage the pelvic floor and the low ribs. And then we're lifting the arms up. Good. And just by drawing in through the belly helps to support the extension of our arms a little better. Let's gently tilt over to one side, not too far. Inhale back up, and then exhale, tilting over to the other side, just feeling that gentle stretch, lateral stretch of the spine. Good. Coming back up. We inhale here and exhale to release the arms. Beautiful work. Coming right back through center, lifting our beach ball up overhead as we inhale. Exhale, dropping elbows right into ribs, nice and close, fanning through the fingertips. And then we find that little back bend by pushing our chest forward, lifting our chin. Good, little cobra pose here. Exhaling back up to a straight spine before we inhale and open the arms wide. And then exhale, grabbing yourself in that big hug. Pause for a moment, take what you need, a little rock or a sway. And then we'll inhale, spreading the arms out again. Change the top arm when you bring it in for that lovely little hug. Good. Last inhale, expanding the arms to the side, and then exhale everything back together at center. Interlace the fingers and pop out those little index fingers. Once again, find that or that zipping up sensation through the belly before we lift the arms up. Tipping over, lateral flexion, inhale up. Exhale, inhaling up, releasing the hands. Good. And you know what, folks, I remembered that I forgot was hands on our knees, tucking the elbows in nice and close. And then we're going to lean forward, hinge forward with the heart into our forward fold. Now you can stay here with your hands on your knees, or you might like to come down a little further and let a little bit more of the cervical spine relax, shaking your head side to side, nodding forward and backwards. Good. And then we'll take another breath in here. Exhaling that energy, downward energy, apana energy. It's the grounding energy. Beautiful. And then hands can come to our knees as we start to hinge ourselves back upright. So we're hinging back up, circling the arms up overhead with a breath in, and then exhale, hands to our heart center. Beautiful work. Let's bring our hands behind the right knee. And we're going to find a little lift of that right knee. Now, for the folks who are in those blue chairs, you might like to really come forward in the chairs because I think they kind of sink on a little bit of an angle, which is going to be a little difficult for you to lift your leg up. So that's just a tip from me to move forward. But find your way to your right knee and we'll find a little lift and lowering here. So we can start with a soft lift, a gentle lift, lifting and lowering. And then we're going to find our way all the way into that hug position of our knee. So we're hugging our knee up. Can we find lots of flexion through the foot? So lots of activation through the foot. And then with a tall spine, with that string on our sternum, can we maybe release one arm out to the side? How does that feel? Draw in through the belly. And then maybe we release the second arm. Oh my goodness, one big breath. And then we lower everything down. Well done, everyone. Whether you went for the challenge or whether you decided your body didn't need it, well done. Good. Rolling the shoulders. Pause for just a moment. Take a breath here. Wonderful. And we'll come to the other side. Now the left leg, reaching behind the left knee, lifting and lowering gently a few times just to sort of loosen up that hip joint a little bit. And then we'll find our way into that knee lift. So as high as feels comfortable, drawing into the low belly, the low ribs. Good. Zipping up. Maybe we open out one of our arms to the side. Lots of strength here. Maybe we release the second arm. Take one big breath. And then exhale, lowering everything down to the floor. Beautiful work. Can we bring our hands to our hip creases, and we'll just end with a little forward fold. Good. Sitting up tall, leading with your heart. So leaning forward with the heart. We can rest our hands on our knees, or we can come down to our elbows, holding on to forearms. And just a little gentle sway of the head and the neck. A little nodding forward and backwards. Even if you're not in a forward fold, you can just gently let your head sort of make little circles. Good. Nice big breath in. And then send it all the way down. Beautiful work. Hands coming to our knees, pushing yourself up with a nice tall spine as you go. Beautiful work, everyone. Let's circle the arms 3 times, sun breath, just to finish that cycle. Inhaling and exhaling, hands to heart. 2 more, inhale. Maybe we follow with our gaze, lifting our gaze to our hands, and exhaling, hands to heart. Last one. Exhale, hands to heart. Beautiful. Bringing hands to your knees. And we're going to find our way into a wide leg position now. So once again, if you've slipped back in your chair, might feel better to come forward just to give yourself a little bit more room, but just find your way into a comfortable position with your legs. Good. So with our legs open to the side, we can stay just like this with our feet flat on the floor, or we might find a little extension through the right leg and the right foot. Now, when we extend that out, we might like to turn the toes in and push the heel out. And then we may have to shift our weight a little bit to the left side of our glute. So that's our bent leg side. Good. So this is just helping to find a little bit of stability and levelness through the pelvis. And then we can reach the arms out in this T shape. Even if we're seated with wide legs, we can reach the arms out if we like, turning to look over the left fingers. Give your fingers a little wiggle and just release some of that tension. Good. And then we'll find a nice little floating energy as we lift the arms up. And then softly float them down. Good. Let's do that one more time. Softness through the elbows. Exhaling, and then let the right hand float all the way down to your right leg. Turn your left palm to face you. And then rooting down through your sit bones, start to lift the fingertips up and over your head. So we're finding a little bit of a back bend here. We're also finding a little bit of lateral movement for the spine. It's kind of like a rotation and a back bend. Good. Big breath in. And then as we exhale, we're going to revolve the arms or windmill the arms so that we're coming to rest on the left arm. And now the right fingertips can reach up overhead. Now we can bend and rest on the elbow, or we might open the arms up kind of like a big book. And this is our triangle pose. Good. Take a big breath in. And then exhale. We're coming back up, revolving, and we're going to make this a little bit of a flow. So inhaling, coming into our peaceful warrior, and exhaling, revolving over into our triangle pose, either resting or opening arms up like a book. Good. Let's do that one more time with the breath. Inhaling, exhaling. Good. And then let's bring ourselves back up And slide our long leg in. If it was out, bring yourself back to center. The feet and the knees can come right together, and we can just give our knees a little windshield wipering side to side. We might even bring the feet a little bit wider than the knees just to get a little bit more into the hips as we windshield wiper through the knees. Pause for a moment and just notice how the two sides of the body feel. Good, nicely done. And so if your feet are together, let's bring them back out to our wide leg position. Readjust in your chair. Feet can stay flat on the floor, or we could slide the left leg out this time. Turn the toes in and shift our weight towards the right knee to look a little bit easier over the right knee. Beautiful, everybody. So getting comfortable, rooting down through the feet, really drawing in to the ribs, maybe bringing in one of those bigger diaphragmatic breaths here, expanding open through the ribs. And then exhale, gathering, drawing in to center. And then on our next inhale, we can float the arms up into either a capital T or maybe a bit more of a little lowercase t with soft elbows. Good. Turning your gaze, wiggling your fingers. Good. Relaxing here through the shoulders, through the elbows. And then we'll find a nice floating sensation. Inhaling, the arms float up. Exhaling, they float down. One more. Inhaling. And then as you exhale, float the left hand all the way down, turning the palm to face you as we reach up through fingertips. And then maybe find a little tiny baby back bend. So we're not leaning heavily on this back hand, but more so we're remaining grounded through the sit bones and finding that lift, lifting the ribs up and away from the hips a little bit more to lift. Good. Finding length in the spine. And then we're going to switch our arms. So we revolve the arms, windmilling the arms, coming to lean over on the right elbow, left fingertips up into the sky, or as much of a bend as you need. We can open the arms up wide like a book, or we can rest on that right elbow. Here we go. Let's flow. So find your little dance. Inhaling, lifting ribs up and away. Exhaling to revolve into triangle pose. Inhale, 2 more cycles here. Exhaling, revolve. Inhaling, 1 more time. Peaceful warrior. Exhaling, triangle pose. Good. And then come on back up through center using the oblique muscles in the core. And then we'll float the hands down to the knees and the legs, sliding that long leg back in, bringing yourself back to center. Give the knees a sway. Well done. And then we'll bring the feet back together, all the way back together this time. The inner edges of the feet coming together. We let the knees fall out to the side and come into a little bit of a butterfly stretch. So bottoms of the feet can press together, and we might let the knees hang heavily, or we might find this little sort of clamshell-like movement of the knees opening and closing. Good. Beautiful work. And then let's let the knees fall away from us once again, taking a nice deep breath in and out. Good. 1 more breath in and out here. Nicely done. And then we can bring the feet back to the floor. And we'll find a figure 4 stretch here. So our hips should be feeling quite warm, quite glidey, I suppose, for lack of a better word. So we'll bring the right ankle on top of the left. If yours are not feeling quite so glidey still, that's all right. You may choose to just sort of keep both feet on the floor, or you may choose to bring one ankle over the other, letting the knee, the right knee, fall open to the side while the left foot stays flat on the floor. And that knee is pointing ahead. Good. So just holding here, if it feels comfortable for you, if you do have a bit more movement through the hips, you might bring that ankle up on top of your left knee, or you might choose to just sort of cross the legs a little bit as well. This position with the legs getting a little bit more into the piriformis muscle on the outside of the glutes. Very good stretch if you have any sciatic nerve pain. It just helps to stretch out that muscle on the outside of the glute. And we'll start to soften into our breath again. Good. You might like to add in the diaphragmatic breath, inhaling, expanding through the ribs, exhaling, drawing back to center. Good. Feeling that top to bottom expansion of the diaphragm dropping down. Exhaling. Beautiful. And then when you feel ready to come out of this pose, you can let the foot slide down to the floor. Let the knees gently windshield wiper side to side. We might even bring the legs out in front of us, coming to rest either on the heels or with the toes pointing down. And we'll just find a little bit of strength and longness or tallness through the spine, coming into just a little bit of a staff pose here, stretching out through the hamstrings. Good. One more breath. And then we'll bring the feet back to the floor. And we'll move to the other side in our figure 4 stretch. So drawing the left ankle over the right, or lifting that foot up, crossing the ankle on top of the knee, finding a little cross leg position. Either of those options works very well in this pose. Good. And then we can let our breath start to settle us again. See if you can let the exhale bring a sense of softness to other areas of the body that might hold tension. So even in the shoulders, in the jaw, in the face. Big inhale, long exhale. The eyes might be getting ready to close now. As you begin to prepare for the next part of our practice, our final relaxation. Good. When you feel like you have completed this pose, you can let the ankles slide down to the floor. You can let the knees gently sway. And then you can make your way all the way back into your chair, into the most reclined position that you can find. So making sure that you feel warm and comfortable. And then just allow the whole weight of your body to really sink into the surface of the chair. Feel even the earth rising up to support the chair that you're in and to support you in the chair. Feel held by the earth. And as our breath begins to guide us into that deeper place of relaxation, where we are able to integrate the practice and where healing can occur. See if we can allow the last remaining bits of tension to melt away from the body, letting the forehead, the eyes, the cheeks, and the jaw all to soften. Letting the sides of the neck, the shoulders, the arms to rest heavily at our sides. Allowing the belly to be soft and the breath and lungs to work naturally. Resting through the back body. Allowing the hips to feel heavy and soft. Relaxing down through the legs, the ankles, and the feet. Feeling the soft dome-like quality of the fingers and the toes. And rest here for a few more moments. Beginning to bring your attention now back into your body, back into your breath. You may take a gentle yawn or a sigh, inviting gentle movement back to your fingers and your toes. And when you are ready, you can move back into your seated position, bringing your hands together at your heart. We'll rub our palms here, connecting to that warm energy. And then placing your palms over your eyes. If you're not wearing glasses, you might enjoy some gentle pressure here on your eyes. And we will pause to say thank you. Thank you to our Mother Earth for sustaining and nourishing us and sharing this land that we live, work, and play on. Thank you to our community of family, friends, and helpers, as well as the ancestors and teachers who came before us. And thank you to yourself for honoring your needs today and for giving yourself this space and time for your practice. And finally, we'll bring our hands back together at our hearts, bringing thumbs to the center of your eyebrows. We bow gently to each other. Thank you for sharing your energy here today. The light in me honors the light in each of you. Om Shanti, peace be with you. And thank you so much for practicing with me.